Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast, where we discuss health education and how to best teach health ed in the K 12 setting.
Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast. I'm your host, Lori Reichel, and today's episode is going to focus on why you should be a member of a professional organization. And as a person who didn't recognize this when I was in teaching, I'm trying to think of how many years I taught before I became a member of New York State AFERD. I didn't really recognize the purpose of it originally. I didn't recognize it until I became a health coordinator. So the purpose of this episode is to not have that happen to you, the listeners, is for you to recognize there's a lot of resources with these national or state organizations that exist for us. To help me out, I have somebody who is one of my favorite people on this planet. Her name is Jessica Synenki. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay, would you say hi to our listeners?
Hi, everybody. It's so great to meet you. Thank you, Lori, for having me on.
It's a pleasure to talk with you because I met you, I think it was like 20 years ago. And this is when I think I even started acting as secretary for New York State AFERD, thanks to Tom Howard. I'm going to do a shout out to Tom. He convinced me to go to a meeting in upstate New York and to stand in for secretary for New York State AFERD. And I grew so much. So Jessica, and I'm sorry about the last name. I seem to have a poor habit of not knowing how to enunciate last names. So I apologize to you for that. Would you mind telling us who you are and
Sure.
Like a little bit of your background?
Yeah, sure. So don't worry about butchering my last name. People have been butchering it ever since I got married, which has been over 20 years. And my father-in-law actually just recently told me I've been saying it wrong the whole time. So
Oh, no.
I guess this is how names change through history, right? It's true. And because I've taught my kids who are 17, 14, and 9 to say it the same way I do. So they will perpetually get it wrong also. So so anyways, I came to New York State AFERD back in 2006, so just shy of 20 years ago. I was working at a college nearby, and I was going to school at the same time. And the executive director of New York State AFERD at the time, she and I met through a volunteer project. She called me. She asked me if I would be interested in coming to work for her. She gave me some details, and I said, no, I don't think so. I'm gonna stay right where I am, but thanks for thinking of me. And a couple months later, she called back and she had the conference director position available. And she said, I've seen your organizational skills. I've met you. I want to work with you. Would you consider? So that was how I came to be at New York State AFERD. I didn't know what a state association for anything looked like at that time. It was all very new to me. And I was in that position almost a full 20 years, learning from Colleen until she retired. And her job as executive director of New York State AFERD became available. And, I applied on the day before the deadline because I really didn't think that I was cut out for the job, but I finally decided to sort of stick my foot in there and give it a try. And I really, over 20 years, have become super passionate about our organization. I work really hard with my own kids, getting them to stop calling it gym class and why do I have to take health, right? And then we're talking about health education and physical education. And I've learned so much, and that I love this organization and the people I've met through it. So that's why I'm here all these years later.
So you are the executive director for New York State AFERD, and you started this January 2024, correct?
Correct. So just over a year now. I made it through a year. Phew.
And some of the qualities that I love about Jessica is that she is honest. She works from her heart. And I think a lot of us in the profession can see that sometimes people work from their egos. And what's interesting is sometimes people misconstrue that when you're so passionate, they think it's more about the ego, and it's like, no, this is what I really believe in this for kids. Like, I truly, truly, truly believe in providing the strongest tools for children and youth so they can be the healthiest they can be. That's my mission on this planet. I know that. And I see that alignment with you. Like, you're passionate, you care, you honestly care, you care for professionals out there. If there's a conflict, you help to resolve it. I can't say enough positive things about you, and I'm really glad that you are the executive director. Colleen was fantastic. You're bringing a different way to handle things, which I think is really important in these roles. So I'm grateful for you and your position. So thanks for doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Lori. I appreciate that.
So can you tell us a little bit about why you recommend people to be members? Or maybe should we even back up and say, so what does a state organization do?
Sure. So, most people just think, it's just a building in New York State I send my check to, right? And they have staff, and that's kind of the end of it. But your professional association can do so much more and can open so many doors for you. The most obvious thing that a state association like ours will do for you, or any organization, professional organization will do for you, is provide professional development, whether it's in person or it's virtual, whether they're book readings, whether they're, podcasts, and it's all being provided usually free, or if you're a member, it's being provided in a deeply discounted fashion, right? So if I'm a non-member, this conference might be $500 to go to that I really want to attend. But if I'm a member, I pay my membership and I might only pay $200 to attend the conference. And you're not receiving just generalized information either, like you might get at your school on a school staff PD day. You are going to be receiving PD that pertains to you and your needs as an educator, which I think is most important of all. You're going to have access to resources that are free or often low cost that are available to you. Professional organizations are going to probably have a members only website like we do, or social media platforms where they're going to share this information with you. You might have information on resources that you pick up at a conference or some other type of professional development you attend. You're also going to be making connections and networking. Often school and physical education teachers feel isolated in their own school districts. I'm sure there are other special areas that feel the same way, and they need people supporting them in their own corner professionally. A professional association is going to give you those people. You're going to meet them at conferences, and you're not going to meet them in sessions, and it's not going to necessarily be the presenter, but you're going to probably meet them in a social setting too. Whether you're walking around an exhibit hall and you happen to be at the same booth talking with an exhibitor and meet somebody there, or, it's in an evening social, just out having dinner with some friends. And then in today's day and age, it's so easy to grab someone's cell number and, once you meet them, and then a month down the road or more, you might find yourself in a situation that was similar to someone you met at the conference. And you can quickly text them for advice or support, or, you remember a presenter mentioning something about a situation they experienced, and, thanks to technology, you can go to an app and you can connect with them quickly for advice on how to handle something on your end. So, and that's part of it, right? There's this whole other side of a connections that, we have folks around New York State AFERD who have been, instrumental and in rewriting the New York State PE learning standards recently. And those are people that, the state education department said to us, do you have names and people you would recommend to help rewrite them? And we said, yes, we do. We have great people to recommend to you. So I think that those are also some really cool and unique connections. You might get asked to serve on a statewide committee for the education department. I mean, how cool is that, right? And then advocacy. Advocating for your programs at the state or national level is being done on your behalf, even without paying for a membership, it's still being done. But your professional organization is doing that for you. And often as a member, you have some opportunities to do that too. I attended Speak Out Day at the Capitol Hill last year for the first time in my career. And there were almost 20 New Yorkers there. It was a great turnout. And I know that we're going to have that turnout again this year to talk about ESSA funding, which is really important, even down to the district level. And you have opportunities right from your own computer if we offer something like a thunderclap. So if the state education department wants to change commissioners' regulations in New York State, we are able to say to our members, hey, we need you, jump on board, help us send this letter or this email to these people on a specific date. And then suddenly they're being spammed, right? Their inboxes are being spammed and they're like, okay, wait, all right, we wanted to make a change, but we've just got 14,000 emails today of why we shouldn't make that change. And then also backyard advocacy, which is becoming more of a side passion project for me, and backyard advocacy, which are resources and guidance that you can get from your professional organization to advocate for your own program within your own district, to your own school board. So maybe you're not interested at the national and state level, but you want to be able to advocate in your community or within your school district for your own program. Leadership skills and opportunities are abundant in professional associations, right? There are endless ways to volunteer, as most organizations run with a skeleton staff. So New York State AFERD, we are lucky to have a staff of 9 actually in total. There are 5 full-time staff here and 4 part-time staff that we call on as we need them, but none of the work could get done without all of the additional volunteers that an organization like ours or any organization needs. And the leadership skills that you gain by serving your professional association will reflect on your growth as a teacher and a leader in your own school building and within your own district. And these are like the big opportunities, right? These are like the grand scheme of what you're going to get from belonging to your organization. But then there's other more tangible benefits. So you're going to get discounts on equipment. If your organization works with a specific one, I'm going to say Gopher, right? That's a company that New York State AFERD works with, and I know that our members get discounts on equipment. There is insurance opportunities. An organization might offer life insurance, or New York State AFERD has general liability insurance. So every member, while their membership is current, they have a $1 million general liability insurance policy. So if a phys ed teacher is teaching a basketball camp after school and for area youth, or if you have a health educator that has some sort of mindfulness activities in the park, right, they have an insurance policy that they can take with them if they're a member of our organization. So if they, if the park or the community or the church, wherever they're doing it, says, oh, we need to show that you have proof of insurance, you don't have to go out and buy that insurance. It comes with your membership. There's an opportunity to be recognized by your peers through awards, right? We have lots of awards here in our own organization that we give out. So those opportunities exist. And in a lot of cases, for our organization, at least, you can apply. And if you receive the award at our own state level, then you can move on to be recognized in a broader spectrum, maybe across the country, like our own Lori Reichel is a Health Educator of the Year. She's smiling, and we may not be able to see her, but she should be very proud of that recognition. So, I mean, those are just some of the basics of why, you should belong to your professional organization, Lori. It is something, like I said earlier, I'm passionate about. I've become more passionate about. I think when I first started, it was like, oh, you want to help plan a conference? That sounds cool. Until I stepped foot in my first conference, and the rooms were overflowing with excitement, and people were so active, and some were so enthralled, and there was great conversation going on. And I think back on my own experiences in school and thought, wow, our teachers needed more of that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we spent the
Yeah.
whole year, learning this or doing that, or spent that little bit of time. I think about our health standards and how outdated they are. And what I learned in the 90s is now, still what my kids are learning today. I have a 17-year-old and I think, oh my gosh, right? Like, thank goodness you have this opportunity to belong to an organization and to learn so much more to enhance your teaching. So.
Yeah. Well, and thank you. I'm gonna just ask or say a couple of things after everything you shared to even share a little bit of my own personal experience with what you discussed. So if I back up a little bit, most states in the
Mhm.
United States has a state organization. Some are stronger than others, right?
Correct. Yes, that's
Okay.
very correct.
They're not always called like the state and then AFERD, because I know in Wisconsin it was like the Wisconsin Health and Physical Education Association. It was WIPY or something like that. So
Mhm.
some of them have the recreation and dance included in there.
Yeah.
Um, and some states are associated with the National Organization of Shape America, which kind of was formerly AFERD. And I know that some people connect with Shape America through their state organization or SOFI or ASHA or the Health and Physical Education Literacy Organization. So there are national organizations which also do the same things, but on a larger scale than what
Right.
Jessica just said.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're all working towards the same goal, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that is to, um, to enhance the professional development opportunities and other opportunities that are out there for teachers so that they can be the best teacher that they can be. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there are state affiliate organizations like New York State AFERD in every state, and also Puerto Rico and Washington D.C. They have one too, and Shape America is the national association. Used to be the American Alliance for Health, Phys Ed, Recreation, and Dance. They did do a name change, and a number of states did do a similar name change. New York State is really proud to be one of the biggest state affiliate organizations in the country. So we are super proud of our conference and our large membership base. But there's always work to do, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I do have to say, I have been to other state conferences and nothing against state conferences. There is something about the professionalism at New York State. So returning to New York, I just really, I feel the energy in New York. And I'm biased. I mean, I'm originally from New York. So, folks, if you're listening to this and you're in Wisconsin, you're like, hey, you live there. Oh, I'm in New York. Sorry. I'm just being honest. I have friends in Wisconsin still or other states and stuff. So I do respect all organizations because we do have like Jessica said, there's this advocacy piece that sometimes we don't recognize national and state organizations do. So those of us that are, in the trenches with working within the schools, sometimes we don't have the time to advocate, yet organizations do that for us. And I really respect, like, they have the passion, they can explain things. Sometimes we might be asked to help strengthen statements for people that are advocating at the state or national level. So definitely that's something that will happen for professional organizations. And I will say, attending a conference, it is weird how many connections you get, but also when you do something little to volunteer, I'm amazed at how I'm connected with people that, if I say it like this, I just can't get out of my life because they're always going to be there. Even if I don't see them, like I was at the awards dinner back in November for the New York State AFERD conference, and I had a couple of people coming up going, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? And that was even like 10 years ago. So it's really neat. Really,
Yeah.
really neat.
Well, we're lucky to have you back in New York, Lori. It was a win for us to
Oh.
get you back.
Yeah, and I thank you. But the connections, you're going to state, and it's funny. Some people have said, you seemed really, really tight, and it's like, well, when you go there, you'll see, like, if you're in a phys ed session and they're asking for participants, there are people participating. That it's not like wallflowers all over the room, but even for health education sections, they're like, we need a volunteer. People volunteer. It's like people that are passionate. So it's kind of like if you need to be reminded of why you chose this field, I recommend going to a state conference, which usually you have lower fees if you're a member of that professional
Right.
organization.
Right, right. Yes, because we want your membership really in the end, right? Because there is strength in numbers.
Yeah.
So we really want you to, we don't want you to pay that non-member rate. That rate is for, the school districts will pay something like that because they won't pay for membership often, but it really would, it's a better use of your budget. I say that all the time, right? It's a better use of your budget. If you pay the 110 for a professional membership, that's what our current fee is for that. Um, your school district, you have more in your budget, then you can go to more of our events, or you can go to, have more money in your budget to attend other events then. So
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Just to let the listeners know, earlier when Jessica was talking about the resources on state websites, I did pull up what New York State AFERD has on their website that's available for free. If you're a member, you can go deeper into it. You can watch this on the School Health Educators YouTube channel so you can see some of the links that the New York State AFERD organization has. So just remember that because there's a lot there, more for members, because again, they're advocates for us. Again, as a former practitioner in the pre-K through 12 setting, I wasn't sure what this meant to be a member, yet attending conferences gave me a growth that I would not have had previously. And also, so I went to a conference. I became a health coordinator on Long Island, and the director's like, you can go to the conference. And I went, and I was like, I could also present. And the next year I presented, and I met the New York State people of Dom and Sue Stiglitz, and they showed up in my presentation, and they actually encouraged me to get more involved. I felt that passion. So that's why going to a conference and then you yourself presenting, you can grow so much.
Yeah.
I truly, okay, let me rephrase that. I truly don't think I would have grown as much as I've grown if I didn't become more active in New York State AFERD.
Yeah, Lori, professional organization is going to help everybody to grow personally and professionally. So, and there is a cost. I totally understand that. Some people are going to view that, especially young educators who are just coming, they're just getting their first job. They have loans to pay back. They are maybe moving out on their own. They have lots of bills. They're going to see it as an added expense, or maybe it's a waste of their time because they're already stretched way too thin, right? But there are options. I know, and I'm not sure about other organizations, but I can tell you from New York State AFERD, there is a monthly payment option to pay off the year-long membership if you want. Right now, it's about $10 a month to pay for it. That's the cost of one coffee from Starbucks, or one specialty coffee, I should say. So maybe you skip coffee at Starbucks once, and a bagel, maybe something like that, once a month. And that, you could pay the fee for it. And I think it's about prioritization too, right? You have to prioritize what's important. So, if you are looking to just, to grow and to be the best teacher you can be for the students that you are teaching, it's imperative that you join your professional organization.
And if you're a current student, undergraduate or graduate, become a member as your student because your membership will be a little bit less. Mm-hmm. I was reminded of that when I went back to school full time for my doctorate, and I was like, sorry, I have to help out the students that have less money right now.
Totally.
Got to help them out. And I can't stress enough, and I actually get emotional when I say this, that I do believe New York State and then getting involved in some national things helped me blossom in a way that I don't think I could have done it alone in my district. Nothing against my district. I don't think I could have done it just in that one section where I lived. Mm-hmm. I am grateful for my growth because of New York State AFERD as well as national organizations. You made me more of who I am today. I don't know if you want to take that as a compliment that way.
Well, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Lori, when I was getting ready for this too, I stumbled on this quote by Robert John Meehan, and I wanted to share it with everybody who listens to this. The most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. And without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. So it's a reminder that there's strength in numbers. So,
Yeah.
coming together is only going to make you the best teacher you can be.
Would you please tell us how can somebody get in contact with you if they want to?
Sure, sure. So you can call the office. The office number is 315-823-1015, or you can reach out to me via email. I'm sure Lori will put this in the notes in case you miss it, but it's JSYNENKI@NewYorkStateAFERD.org.
And there's so much a part of me that I just wish I can start rattling off all the names of the people that I met through New York State AFERD, because when I think of them, like my heart just gets stronger and stronger, like Mara Manson and Kathy Haidt. And so thank you all. If I didn't say your name, it's because we don't have enough time on this episode. But Jessica, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Truly,
Great.
thank you for everything you're doing for New York, but really for the profession overall, for health and physical educators, as well as recreation and dance. Do you have any last things you want to share or say to our audience?
I think I said it repeatedly, right? But just thank you. Thank you to those of you that already support your professional membership organization. And for those of you who might need a little more convincing, even if it's not to join New York State AFERD, but to join another organization, call me. I'm sure that I can try to help you weigh the pros and cons. And I know that you're going to see that the benefits are worth it. Even just try it for 1 year.
Yeah. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, Lori.
And thank you to our listeners. Remember to follow this on your favorite podcast platform. Give us some 5 stars, thumbs up. I'd be really grateful for that. Remember to check out the School Health Educators website. I know there's some links that need to be updated due to some links being altered in winter 2025. And also, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. The kids need us. So thanks for continuing being passionate school health educators. There's a reason why you're here, and I'm grateful for it. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.